ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। थोड़ा ब्राइट करो। गुरवे गौरीचन्द्राय राधिकाय सदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। अनर्पितं चरिं चिरात् कारुण्यवतीं कलौ समर्पयितमुन्नतुजरसां स्वभक्ति श्रियम्। हरिपुरसुन्दरदुती कदम्ब सन्देशिता सदा हृदे कन्द्रेषु स्फुरितो वै सच्चिनन्दना। राधाचिन्तनिवेशिनं यस्य कान्तिविलोपिता श्रीकृष्णचरणं वन्दे राधालिङ्गितं विग्रहम्। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। भक्त्या विहीनाय अपराधलक्ष्ये क्षिप्तस्य कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि तं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। प्रमदमदनलीला कंदरे कंदरते रचयति नवयुनो दण्डमस्मि नामदा। इति केलकालनाशलग्नकस्य द्योरमे निज निकट निवासं देहि गोवर्धनौतम्। कृष्णवर्णमतुषा कृष्णं सङ्गोपङ्गस्त्रपाशदं यज्ञे सङ्कीर्तनप्रयाय यजन्ति सुमेधसा। विश्वसर्गविसर्गादिनवलक्षलक्षितं कृष्णाख्यं परम धाम जगद्धाम नमामि यत्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। एवरीबॉडी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Coming back to our Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrit by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, we were hearing Adi Leela, where Shri Krishna is giving knowledge to Brahma about Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which is not an easy topic to understand. We heard yesterday the first shloka, Aham Evasam Evagre. That is the knowledge. But first shloka is knowledge, and the second shloka is realization, means Vigyan, which is not very easy, very complicated, but not difficult. Rite artham yat pritet na pritet cha atmani tad vidde atmaya yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. Krishna is giving this knowledge to Brahmaji in the second verse related to his Maya. And anyone who understands this topic can get realization of Krishna. That is Vigyan. Let us hear today what is the meaning of this Vigyan. What is the meaning of Maya here? So the translation of this is, except for the true established goal, whatever is evident and even having existence, but is not experienced in my jurisdiction, understand that to be my Maya. Understood? Now this is very technical. Yeah, we need lot of energy today, a lot of concentration to understand this topic. Except for the true established goal, accept, not accept, except for the true established prayojan goal, whatever is evident and even having existence, it is evident and also having existence, but it's not experienced in my jurisdiction. Krishna is saying, you cannot experience in my jurisdiction of which having existence, which is evident, that is called Maya. That's the definition of Maya. It's very easy to say, oh, we have to overcome Maya. What is Maya? How we understand, how we have to know what is Maya actually. It's not that simple word, M-A-Y-A, four alphabet. I mean, four syllables, word Maya. So except for true established goal, whatever is evident and even having existence, but it's not in my jurisdiction. No. कृष्ण सूर्य सम माया अंधकार जहां कृष्ण नहीं तहाँ माया अधिकार जहां कृष्ण तहाँ नहीं माया अधिकार कृष्ण is like sun कृष्ण सूर्य सम माया है अंधकार maya is darkness wherever Krishna is present maya has no existence there so Krishna is saying what is not experienced in my jurisdiction that is to be my maya so wherever Krishna existence is maya cannot be there an example in that way that an example in the way that even though two moons does not exist in a crystal or a glass but the reflection of two moons is seen how many moons are there in sky 4 5 huh one moon right even though two moons does not exist only one moon exists right say yes or no yes 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 two moon only one moon exists in a crystal or a glass the reflection of two moons is seen other day I was explaining this if you have a cup of water and you keep and you see the reflection of moon in that so then we can say oh two moons are there one in the sky and one in my glass in that crystal but actually moon is only one in the sky so this is one another point is and in the way Rahu is not seen even being in eclipse no Rahu is not seen even being in the constellation the constellation Rahu is there but it is not seen understand his existence is there but it is not seen there so the intending meaning is that at the time of seeing an illuminated object nothing like a shadow or darkness is seen things are being said in a twisting way but gives the straight meaning. There is no bend here, straight meaning. The intent meaning is that at the time of seeing an illuminated object, when we see an illuminated object, nothing like shadow or darkness is seen. At the time of seeing shadow and darkness, an illuminated object is certainly not seen, right? So only one time, one existence. An object is illuminating. What happened?
Yes, now we hear you again.
That is called Maya. Is that is simple to understand? Practical experience. You can see me, but you can't hear me. That's Maya. In this manner, there is Bhagwan and his Maya. Shri Bhagwan is an illuminated object. His Maya is of two types. One is Abhas, another is Jeev Maya. Abhas means pertaining to the shadow. Understand? Maya is of two types, pertaining to the shadow called Abhas. And other is pertaining to the darkness. It's called Jeev Maya. Yatha Vaso, Yatha Tamaha. Jeev Maya, sorry, the Jeev Maya and the Gun Maya. Two kind of Maya, Jeev Maya and Gun Maya. Even though both of them are solely dependent on Shri Bhagwan, Jeev and Maya do not exist in the confidence of Bhagavad Antaranga Shakti. Jeev Maya is Jeev Shakti and Gun Maya is one who creates this material world. This is Vigyan. Okay, so that's why this is little difficult. Jeev Maya and Gun Maya do not exist in the confidence of Bhagavad Antaranga Shakti. Antaranga Shakti is different from Jiva Shakti and means Tatastha Shakti and Bahiranga Shakti. That's Antaranga Shakti. And also in the apprehension or knowledge of Jeev and Maya, Bhagwan does not exist there. That's the translation part. Hold this. Let's see what Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has to say. Maya, material energy, acts partly favorably and partly unfavorable towards the jiva, trying to attain knowledge. Okay, Maya means material energy, acts partly favorable, partly unfavorable towards the jiva, trying to attain knowledge and realization of Paramatma. How favorable and how unfavorable? We all know the unfavorable part. Maya is acting as unfavorable towards jiva, who wants to know, understand, realize about Bhagwan. How Maya is acting favorably. Remember I told other day? Favorable? How? Because she is slapping the jivas, punishing the jivas. And in this way, one day, in one lifetime, jiva come to understanding, oh, enough of miseries. I'm fed up of my miseries. I want some happiness. So who brought the jiva to that point of understanding? I really want a happiness. When the jiva goes through miseries and sufferings. And who is the cause of that misery and sufferings? I mean, who is punishing that jivas? Maya. At the point of happiness, then the persons uh, start searching where is the ultimate happiness, because every happiness results again into suffering. But when there is ultimate happiness, then it comes to know from sadhu sangha, association of devotees. And moment he comes to Krishna consciousness, a person start feeling happiness and bliss, and gradually from happiness then to bliss. So who is acting, who is supporting, bringing us up to this point? It's Maya. So Maya is acting as favorable, and Maya also acting as unfavorable. And other instance how Maya is acting as favorable is this material universe is created by Maya. Why? Jivas can go through the reactions of their karmas, which is also a very important and essential part. If karmas, the reactions of the karmas are in a dormant state, in a sleeping dormant state, then it will take life and life and life. Jiva cannot come over the reaction of karmas, and there will be delay in that process approaching to the Lord. So the reactions of the karmas is actually very auspicious. Agony. The reactions of the karmas is actually auspicious because they get rid of all the karmic reactions, and finally getting more and more close to the Lord. So who is playing the role behind this? Creating this material world? Shishti, Sthiti, Pralay, Sadhana, Shakti, Resha is Maya. So Maya is creating the material world to give uh, to give the space for the jivas. They can go through the reactions of their karmas, one point, and then punishing the jivas, punishing sometime कबू स्वर्गे उठाए कभी नरके डोबाए, sometime elevating to the higher planets and sometime throwing in the lower planets. Both are punishing. Just like Chaitanya Charitamrita says, in olden days, the king used to punish thieves, asking the soldiers to take the thief in the river and force him to put the thief into the water. And when the thief or any criminal can't breathe, he becomes breathless, and then the soldiers lift for a while and he feels so relaxed, and again putting in water. This is how the Maya is punishing, sometime elevating, giving happiness, sometime giving us miseries and sorrows. This is how Maya is punishing. In this way, Maya is acting as favorable and unfavorable both together. Understand? So Krishna is saying to Brahmaji, material energy, my Maya acts favorably and unfavorably towards Jiva, trying to attain knowledge, to realize the Paramatma, to realize Bhagwan. When you realize me means Krishna saying, when you realize me, Paramatma, then only Yog Maya functions. That is called Vigyan. When you realize me, then the function of Yog Maya starts. Then there is no any interference of Mahamaya. Yog Maya is there. Thus, Yog Maya acts only favorably. There is no unfavorable mood in Yog Maya. Whereas Mahamaya, both favorable and unfavorable. Yogmaya, only favorable. So, since both of these should be defined in the verse, I will impart this knowledge to you. So, there is a verse which says, Brahma, you asked me about the qualities of Maya and Yogmaya. I am now giving answer by taking two meanings to the verse. By this Maya, nothing is perceived except a real object, artham, rite artham, yat pratet, na pratet, cha atmani. What is that artham? Rite artham. What is that artham? He's saying by this Maya, nothing is perceived except a real object. The real object is called artham, वास्तव वस्तु. क्या श्लोक है? वास्तव वस्तु धर्म प्रोजित कैतव अत्रो परम निर्मसरणं सताम वेद्यम वास्तव अत्र वस्तु शिवदम ताप त्रायन मूलनम. अत्र वस्तु, artham means the real object. So by this Maya, nothing is perceived except a real object, artham, that is, only a real object is perceived. And by this Maya, yat pratyet, yat means there is a perception without a real object. This means that by this Maya, real objects are not perceived, but rather false objects are perceived. The real objects means Bhagwan, his loka, his dham, his devotees, and all those tadya vastu, those who are in oneness with Bhagwan. These are called real vastu, artham, real objects, vastu vastu. This means that with this Maya, real objects cannot be perceived. When there is covering of Maya, then the real object cannot be seen, cannot be perceived, but rather false objects are perceived. If you see a rope in dark, one can assume this rope as snake, but it is rope. That's the false understanding of a rope, that is a snake. This is Maya. Because of Maya, we can't perceive the real object, but rather we perceive the false object. The liberated and conditioned souls know it as my Atmana, Maya Shakti, which has two functions of Vidya and Avidya, existing in relation to the self, Atmani. Again, the liberated and conditioned souls know it as my Atmana, Maya Shakti, which has two functions of Vidya and Avidya. Maya Shakti has how many functions? Repeat. Two functions. What are those? Vidya and Avidya. So Vidya and Avidya. Vidya for liberated souls and Avidya for conditioned souls. Understand? Rite artham yat pratet na pratet cha atmani. Understand? This is what explaining here. Maya Shakti, which has two functions of Vidya for the liberated souls and Avidya for the conditioned souls, existing in relation to self, Atmani. Now, How we understand this? Example. So he's giving an example. An example of Vidya is given. It is like the illumination coming from a lamp. यथा भासो यथा तमः. श्लोक में आता है ना, ऋते अर्थम यत् प्रत्येत न प्रत्येत आत्मनि तद विद्या आत्ममाया यथा भासो यथा तमः. What is the meaning of this yatha bhaso? It is like a illumination, a light coming from a lamp. Try to understand this example. It took us so much time and discussion to understand this point. Like a illumination coming from a lamp. In a house, when lamp is illuminating, an existing pot or cloth is perceived because of the light of a lamp. Understand? It's simple. House is dark and you lighted a lamp. Something was already existing there. What was existing there? A pot and a cloth. So when you illuminated that light, the lamp, very easily we can see, oh, pot is there and cloth is there, right? Which previously existed does not become non-existent. That pot and cloth was already existing there in the house, but with the illumination of a lamp, one can very easily perceive the pot and cloth. Now another part, this is A. Now mark another part B. A snake or scorpion, which was the cause of fear, is perceived as non-existent at that time by the function of vidya. तो उसके बाद कुछ लिखा है. By the function of vidya, the liberated jiva perceive knowledge and bliss in relation to self. It is not like the state of avidya where this perception is absent. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Maya has two roles, vidya and avidya. Example of vidya is given. Example is, in a house, already a pot and cloth, ghat and pat, pot and cloth is already existing. A lamp is been lighted, and very easily, with the help of that lamp, that illumination. What is that lamp illumination? That's vidya, knowledge. We can very easily see the pot is there and the cloth is there. That is example of vidya. Understand? Now this is clear? Yes. Example of avidya. It is like darkness. Because of darkness, a pot or cloth in the house are not perceived to exist. Understand? In the house, there's darkness. Lamp is not even lighted yet. So what we will see? Darkness. So even the pot and cloth is there, we can't perceive that because it is dark. A snake or thief, though not existing there, cause fear because of their possible existence, and thus are perceived to exist where they actually do not exist. I'm repeating again. In the state of darkness, no lamp, nothing. We cannot see pot and cloth. We cannot see that. But in addition to that, there is a fear. If you're entering a house, imagine if there is blackout in a town, house is dark, in the night 10 o'clock, you're entering the house. While you enter the house, there is no torch, there is no mobile, there is nothing. So those things which are already existing in the house cannot be perceived. This is one point. Plus a fear. A fear, there might be a snake in the house. There might be a thief hiding in the house. Though not existing there, thief and snake, though they are not existing there, but a fear start existing there. Fear of possibility, a fear of possible existence. They might be there, it can be there. The fear of possible existence, and thus are perceived to exist where they actually do not exist. Snake and thief do not exist, but a fear exists. Understand? So two things, pot and cloth cannot be, which are exist, cannot be seen. Snake and thief do not exist, but the fear exists. Right? So because of avidya, ignorance, the conditioned jiva do not perceive knowledge and bliss. Because of darkness means ignorance, the conditioned soul do not perceive knowledge and bliss, just like one cannot perceive pot and cloth in the house because of darkness. But it's actually present there. So in a conditioned state, knowledge and bliss which is already present, but jiva cannot see this because of darkness, avidya, ignorance. Right? Even though this knowledge and bliss, though exist with an eternal relationship to the self, there's eternal relationship of knowledge and bliss to oneself, eternal relationship, but it cannot be seen. Understand my point? House complete of darkness, but there is cloth and there is a pot present in the house, and because of darkness we cannot see. Similarly, knowledge and bliss is already eternal relationship with the self, but because of darkness, because of ignorance, we can't perceive this. A very simple example to this is just strike to my mind. One housewife, she has so much jewelry, so many jewelry at home in her locker, somewhere hidden, mostly in India. All these rich people, they have so much gold, diamond, and so many valuable jewels. And they keep this hiding in one locker somewhere in the house, which only householder knows. No one can see that. Sometimes it is buried underground, just right in the living room in one hole. And sometimes it is buried in the wall. There was a big theft happened. A house which was closed for few months because the householders, they shifted to some other locality and they kept their house closed. They didn't gave to anyone for rent or nothing. But they had so much gold with them, and they cannot carry gold with them everywhere. So what they did, uh, with the help of two labor, they how you say, they scratched the wall and they put the gold in between the bricks. Gold means the gold biscuits, this kind, small biscuits, which is very, very expensive. And along with the holes in the wall, they cemented that and then painted. So even though if the thieves will come at home, they will see just walls. No one can take bricks and walls. So they're trying to act smart. But these thieves who came, they're also very smart. They have some device by which they can easily locate where is the gold and where is valuable thing. So when they break in, the machine, the device which they have start blinking and indicating the direction, and they're seeing walls. The device is indicating the wall. You say wall? Very strange. And they tried to break the wall and they found so much gold is there. So similarly, once upon a time, householder, they have lockers. So lady, housewife, she has to go one marriage party, and they used to wear so many ornaments from toe to head, so many ornaments, which is there. She has easy access to that, but she's not finding the key of that locker, of that box. She's searching the whole house, closet, clothes, kitchen, and she's, oh my goodness, 3 hours she's searching, the key is not there. But she has everything to show off in the society that I have so much different color of ornaments. After searching for 3 hours, no key, didn't found the key, and she can't break the lock. It's too heavy. For that, she needs a worker to come and break the locker. So what she did, she approached her friend in the neighbor, requesting her, see, I have to go a very important party, but this what happened. My locker is, I forgot, I lost the keys. Can you lend me some ornaments just for one night? I'll return you back tomorrow morning. She said, yes, of course. What's the big deal? Yeah, here it is. Whatever you want. She opened her all jewelry box and she took, that housewife took the jewelry from her friend and she went to the party. Yeah, very simple example. But what is the significance here? What's the moral of the story here? She already have so much possessions, but she can't able to take out or have access to that because she lost the key. Similarly, we as self has so much possessions, knowledge and bliss inherent in us, but we lost that key. And we are searching that key in each and every object of this material world to find happiness, the search of happiness, the search of knowledge. Whereas that knowledge and bliss is already inside. From Bahirmukh, the only procedure is to, from Bahirmukh, one has to come Antarmukh. Bahirmukh to Antarmukh means? Huh? How? Aversity to inclination. Right. From aversity to inclination. Everything is inherent. It is just here. All bliss is here. We lost the key and we are begging our friends, relatives, ABC, everyone, please lend me something. I want to enjoy. I want to have happiness. I want to have bliss. Whereas everything is inherent. That's avidya. Understand? Okay, so the conditioned jiva perceive the body now. Because of avidya, the conditioned soul does not perceive knowledge and bliss, even though they exist with an eternal relationship to the self. It is already there. The house is dark. The pot and cloth is there, but cannot be seen because of darkness. The moment there is illumination, the pot and cloth is very easy to be seen. Oh yes, it is just there. That is called vidya. Prema bhakti jaha haite avidya vinash jate. Vede gaye jahar charito. This is what Gurudev is doing. Agyan timirandasya jnananjan shalakaya. Chakshurumlitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. With a torchlight of knowledge, illuminating, so that we can perceive ourselves, which have eternal relationship with knowledge and bliss. Agyan timirandasya, which is agyan is darkness, and Gurudev, he illuminates with that knowledge and dissipate all ignorance and darkness, push away maya, and illuminating and urging us to recognize yourself. You are source. There's a big supply, a big source of bliss just inside you. Go and check on you. Everything is just there. And because everything is there, and because of darkness, and because of that ignorance, which is avidya, we can't see that. That's avidya. Understand? The conditioned jiva perceives the body and lamentation and confusion related to the body appear to be related to self, though actually they are not related to self. This is the example which is saying a snake or thief, though not existing there, but the fear existing in that dark house, snake, thief, ghost, ghost might be there. Let us say snake or thief, ghost may be there. Okay, snake or thief, though not existing there, cause fear. They are not existing, but fear existing because of the possible existence, and thus are perceived to exist where they actually do not exist. Similarly, the conditioned jivas perceive the body and limitation and confusion. Body is there. The conditioned soul perceive the body, but limitation and confusion related to body appear related to self. That fear, that lamentation, that confusion, which don't exist in the house, which don't exist with the self, but there's a possible existence, assuming, yes, it has existence, assumption that it has existence. What? Lamentation and confusion with the body. Body can be seen, But lamentation and confusion, can it be seen? No. What is a form look like? What is lamentation look like? What is a figure? What is a confusion figure? Understand? But they have existence. In material world, confusion has existence, fear has existence, lamentation has existence. They have existence. But because of conditioned state, we start thinking we are related to this confusion, lamentation. Whereas in a liberated stage, in a liberated soul, there is no fear, because these things are not existing there. This is what it's trying to explain. Though actually they are not related to self. Lamentation, confusion, not related to self. A person start assuming or thinking it is related to me. That is called avidya. So Maya has two functions, vidya and avidya. Though flowers and horns exist, though flowers, horns, what are horns? Horns. Huh? No, I'm not speaking about horns. Horns. You know what is horns? What? Yes, that is what I'm. Not horns. Flower. Why I said horns? There is some point here. A foolish person have horns. It says. Okay. Okay. Though flowers and horns exist, yes or no? Flowers have existence. Horns also have existence. I mean, not in human beings, but horns has their existence, right? Because they are not related to sky and rabbit. Try to understand. You see rabbit? You saw rabbit? Do rabbit have horns? दिखाना एक लेकर आओ. Do rabbits have horns? But we see something. What is that? Ears. I can show you practical. We have rabbits in our Shri Radha Madhav Gaudiya Math. You see? You see this rabbit? This not horns. Okay, baby, you stay here. Okay, coming to understanding. Why I made this in between? This is so complicated topic. We need a little cool down, okay? Otherwise, though flowers and horns exist, because they are not related to sky and rabbit. What is the meaning? A flower in the sky and a rabbit with the horns are false. Can it be true? I saw flowers in the sky. Can it possible? No. I saw horns on the rabbit. Is it possible? No. But that doesn't mean that flowers and horns do not exist. Their existence is there, but not in relation to sky and rabbit. That's the point. Similarly, though bodies and lamentation, confusion, happiness, and distress all exist as expansion of real matter. This is matter. And anything related to matter is called material. Confusion, lamentation, distress, happiness, fear, all these things are what? Huh? They're matter. That's why they call material. So they have their existence individually. They have their own existence. It does not mean that they have no existence. They have existence. Huh? The body, lamentation, confusion, happiness, and distress are all called false in the scriptures because they have no real relation to the jiva. Flowers do exist, sky exists, but there is no relation of flower and sky. Totally different. Rabbit exists, horns exist, but rabbit have no horns. Similarly, jiva, the inner self, is Sanatan, eternal, part and parcel of Krishna. Is Chit, Anuchit, very small, small, what's that word? In infinitesimal, yes. But have existence. But have existence. Jiva has this. Whereas lamentation, confusion, fear, all these things have also existence. And existence where? Only in material world. Because they are expansion of matter. They have no existence in spiritual world. They have only existence in material world. But jiva and all these things are not related to each other. They are not compatible. Flower exists, sky exists, but there is no relation of flower and sky. Jiva exists, lamentation, fear, confusion exists, but there is no any compatibility or anything related to the jiva. That is avidya, that is darkness. Though the relationship of the jiva with the body is false, though the relationship of the jiva means soul with the body is false, it is produced by avidya and destroyed by vidya. It looks like we are reading a poetry. It's like a poetry poem. Yeah. The relationship of jiva with the body is false. It is produced by avidya but destroyed by vidya. Understand? It is produced by avidya, ignorance, and destroyed by vidya, that means knowledge. Thus, vidya is compared to light and avidya is compared to darkness. Rite artham yat pratet na pratet cha atmani tad vidya atma maya yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. The vidya is compared, the knowledge is compared to light, and avidya is compared to darkness. So therefore, Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ji, when he wrote this Patrika, means this magazine, not Back to Godhead, but the Hindi version is called Bhagavad Darshan. In ISKCON, we used to read this. And just on the front page, the title is saying, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar, jahan Krishna taha nahi Maya adhikar. Krishna Surya Sama. Krishna is like sun illuminating, and Maya is andhakar, darkness. So this something very important point here. Sun is fully illuminating, and darkness is full, complete black, dark. But the existence of darkness is only because of sun. Means the absence of sun is called darkness. Darkness is subordinate to sun, but darkness has nothing to do with sun. Sun is covered by clouds. Okay. Oh, very nice weather. It's sunny day. After 1 hour, dark clouds. So when sun is covered by clouds, can we see clouds or not? We can't see clouds. Then how we can see clouds? Only because of the presence of sun. We can't see clouds in night because it's dark. In the daylight, when the sun is on its horizon and is illuminating, the sun is covered by clouds. So the source of light is covered by something, by clouds. Even though source of light is covered by clouds, still clouds can be perceived only because of presence of sun. Understand? So Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Andakar. Krishna is like sun and Maya is darkness. जहाँ कृष्ण तहाँ नहीं माया अधिकार, यही है ना? Wherever Krishna is there, Maya has no existence there. So Krishna, sun, Maya, darkness. What is Maya? The Bhairanga Shakti, the external energy of whom? Hanuman, Ganesh, sun, moon, Durga, any demigod? No. Whose Bhairanga Shakti, whose external energy Maya is? Krishna. So the existence of Maya is only because of Krishna, as the potency of Krishna. Maya has no independent existence. Maya is dependent on Krishna, but Krishna has nothing to do with Maya. And wherever Krishna is there, Maya cannot be there. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pratape male aparshat purusham purnam mayastat parashrayam. Srila Vyasdev saw Krishna standing and Maya in the back. Maya never comes in front. The existence of Maya is only because of Krishna, but Maya cannot come in front of Krishna. She don't have any independent existence. Understand? But she is still surrendered to Krishna. This is Vidya and Avidya. Though the relationship of Jiva with the body is false, it is produced by Avidya and destroyed by knowledge, Vidya. Thus, Vidya is compared to light and Avidya is compared to darkness. Some explain the example this way. The example of darkness refers to the covering or obscuring portion of Maya. Darkness refers to the covering, or when we say the vision is obscured. Understand how you spell this? Obscured. Huh? The example of darkness refers to the covering or obscuring portion of Maya. Examples of obscuring and confusion aspects are being overcome with fear of snake, tiger, or being possessed by a ghost. The example of obscuring and confusion, which is a portion of Maya, aspects are being overcome with fear of snake, tiger, or being possessed by a ghost. What is the meaning of earth? We're going to hear tomorrow. We digest this much today. this is Vigyan. Jnanam param guhyam में यद विज्ञान समन्वितम. This part, the second verse, is complicated. The first part we heard, the first shloka, was we heard yesterday, is full of Krishna Tattva. I was present before creation. I am present in creation. I'll be present after creation. Right? It was easy and we are able to understand. But this topic is called Vigyan, realization. And one cannot have realization unless we understand the jurisdiction of external energy and internal energy. Because we as marginal potency, we are stuck in between these two energies. We are in middle. The Bhairanga Shakti Maya is pulling and Antaranga Shakti is inspiring. There is a pull and there is inspiration. We in between wants to follow the path of Mahajans, means towards Antaranga Shakti, but because of our nature being many unlimited births, we had so many samskars in relationship with Maya, that attachment with Maya is so hard to give up that samskars. Therefore, we are afflicted with lust, anger, greed, confusions, lamentation, fears, which are expansion of matter. Because of our sangha, because of our association with matter, everything what we perceive, everything what we understand, everything what we want to enjoy, everything which appeals to us is all material. It is so much imbibed. So that's the pulling force, dragging us back. Whereas we are walking off the wind. I heard the news, there was a flight from New York to London. We take direct flight, it takes 7.5 hours. But because the wind was so favorable, the first time it happened, record breaking, the flight landed in 4 hours 30 minutes. Heavy winds, but moving in that direction. So plane was going very fast. And if the wind is opposite, then instead of 7.5 hours, it takes 10.5 hours. So we are going against Antaranga Shakti. Whereas we are on a marginal. We have tendency to follow either way. Those who are happy and blissful, who are always in Antaranga Shakti, they are happy there. Those who are materially always in Maya, eat, drink, and be merry. That's all. That's the only formula for the life. They are also very happy. Problem is with us. Problem is with us. We want to go there. Moment we move forward 4 steps, Maya pulls us back 2 steps. Understand? That's the dilemma. That's the problem. Then what to do? Association with Antaranga Shakti. More and more and more. Association of Antaranga Shakti means association of those who are ah, expansion of Antaranga Shakti, sadhus. We get so much inspiration. Jahar nikat gele, papa dure jaye. Ah, by sitting next to the sadhus, the tendency to do sinful, perform sinful activities also disappear. Ganga parasha hai paschate pavan, darshane pavitra karo e tumar gun. One takes bath in Ganga, go to Ganga, take dip in the Ganga, then get purified. But darshane pavitra karo e tumar gun. Just by having darshan of a sadhu, darshan of Srila Gurudev, one gets purified. Because that's Antaranga Shakti. Gradually, with our choice of more into that domain of Antaranga Shakti, we all are practicing for that. Gradually moving our steps forward. Maya is pulling us back. We say, Maya, wait a minute. Let me achieve something. Wait a minute. Don't swallow me. Don't eat me. Therefore, only with Krishna's prasad, one can overcome Maya. As Uddhav ji said, Tabhokta saraganda vaso alankrita charachita uchisht bhojam dasyam tam Maya jainamihi. Uddhav ji said, O Prabhu, O Krishna, I have no fear of Maya. Why? Have no fear of Maya? Because I'm wearing your remnants, garland, your clothes. I'm honoring your remnants, prasadam. I can very easily overcome Maya. Nutshell, to be in contact, in proximity with Tadya Vastu of Bhagwan. Tadya Vastu means oneness with Bhagwan. Tulasi, Ganga, Bhagavatam, Vaishnav, and of course, a living sadhu, a living association of sadhu gives us inspiration. Then, जहाँ कृष्ण ता नहीं माया अधिकार. Krishna is there, Maya has no adhikar there. That's the formula. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. We'll hear tomorrow more on this topic. For today, Hare Krishna.